woman who is openly flirting with trying to run for Texas Senate seat against Senator either John Cornyn or whoever comes out of that primary. You are seeing a woman who's not spending an awful lot of time in Texas. That whole list of places she's been living high on the hog, I didn't see anything mentioning Dallas. She's all across the country making sure that she is getting taken care of, that her nails look fabulous.
Jas Crockett, the gift that keeps on giving. As you just saw, Jas bases her life around this old mantra because she literally keeps on giving gifts to herself. Now, of course, like all socialist and communist, Jas doesn't use her own money to live her life of luxury. A beautiful woman like Jas, she can't be wasting her time working. She can't be wasting her time putting in 70, 80 hours a week at the office. No, 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 no! Instead of working and building her own wealth, Jas subsidizes her life of luxury, spending your money. Here on the channel, we call it woke welfare. You know, a common mistake that people often make when they taste success for the first time, and this is especially true with lazy people who just happen to stumble into success. A common mistake people often make: they think success is going to last forever, thinking, "Ooh, I made it." It is incredibly difficult to make it in any field, whether it's real estate, business, sports, national politics, media, YouTube. In the entire world, of the millions and millions of channels here on YouTube, less than 1% eclipse 100,000 subscribers. If you're a smaller channel, maybe you have 10,000 subscribers, you're in the top 3% in the world. Being in the top 3% in the world in anything is an accomplishment, but reaching that point is only half the battle. Once you make it, the work doesn't stop. Matter of fact, that's when the real work begins, because now you're at the point where you not only have to maintain it, you have to keep growing it. You have to keep moving forward. A common characteristic in unmotivated, undriven, hell, let's just call it what it is. A common characteristic in lazy people like Jas Crockett is thinking the hard work stops once you achieve success. Thinking you're now entitled, thinking you're elite, thinking you're owed special treatment, thinking you're allowed to live a life of luxury on other people's money. When the reality is, you're supposed to be representing their best interest, not your best interest. Jas Crockett is supposed to be representing the people of Dallas. Believe it or not, Jasmine Crockett doesn't even need to spend taxpayer money to live a life of luxury. According to her financial records, Jas has a net worth of around $9 million. Well, Casey, that's right. She's one of the best lawyers in Texas. Jas is a genius! Genius? I've had the misfortune of listening to Jasmine Crockett speak many times. Words like genius, smart, brilliant, those are not words that Uncle Casey would use to describe Jas Crockett. Her net worth of $9 million, it did not come from her law firm. Like her bestie in failure, Bomani Jones, Jas Crockett's legal practice is a huge, embarrassing failure. Before she was elected to Congress, her legal practice generated $26,000 in revenue in 1 year. The following year, it only generated $14,000. As a lawyer, Jas Crockett was living below the poverty line. She was stressing last month because her SNAP benefits were being threatened. So How did a doofus like Jasmine Crockett become a multimillionaire? Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. So I get to the sponsor for today's video, my good friends at Sugar Mountain Trading. My uncle called me, I believe it was last Monday. Now, my uncle, he's a military veteran, served in the Gulf War in the early 90s. As he's gotten older, he's been dealing with various health-related issues. Doctors had him on pain management, had him taking all this medicine just to get him to sleep at night, most of which wasn't working. Once the meds wore off, he was tossing and turning all night. Plus, he was building up a tolerance. Last month, my aunt bought him some CBD lotion from Sugar Mountain Trading. She wanted him to try it out just to see if it worked. He applies the CBD lotion every night before bed, and my uncle is getting the best sleep that he has gotten in years. He doesn't even take the pain medication anymore because he doesn't need it. Recently, I gave some of the CBD lotion to my dad. Now, my dad's been installing and repairing sprinkler systems my entire life, so he developed pain in his knees. He hates taking pills, so I gave him some of the CBD lotion from Sugar Mountain Trading. His knees are now pain-free, even at 74 years old. All CBD products offered at Sugar Mountain Trading, 100% natural, 100% free of THC. So click the link in the description below. They've increased their discount code for the holidays. So the new discount code, BTL35. Get 35% off your first purchase with Sugar Mountain Trading. As a lawyer, Jas Crockett was a huge embarrassing failure. There are public defenders making more than $14,000 a year. So how did Jas become a multimillionaire? Let's think about this logically for a second. When you're a failure in media, when you try to build a platform on YouTube or Instagram or other social media platforms, and you can't attract flies to your steaming turd, what do? How do you get on the path to becoming rich? For someone like Bo Jones, you take advantage of the diversity policies of the worldwide leader in woke, ESPN, and you swindle the network out of millions of dollars while contributing absolutely nothing. For someone like Sarah Spain, who has the charisma of a facial wart, you plead for mainstream sympathy by auctioning yourself off as a date to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately for Jas Crockett, she couldn't pursue woke welfare in the mainstream media. In order to qualify for woke welfare in the media, at minimum, you have to have a firm understanding of how to properly use the English language. So, what path did Jas take to go from poverty to penthouse? Like most useless politicians who are incapable of building a damn thing, Jas decided to abandon her embarrassing failure of a legal career to pursue a career in national politics. Jas Crockett has been a member of Congress for almost 3 years now. She went from averaging $20,000 a year as a lawyer to averaging $3 million a year as some doofus representative. Last I checked, taxpayers are paying Jas $174,000 a year to not represent their interest. Not only does she not represent the people of Texas, she's a constant embarrassment. Instead of fans chanting "Fire Nico" at Mavs games, they should be chanting "Fire Jas." So, how did Jas turn $174,000 into $9 million? The vast majority of her net worth, it is tied into 3 stocks: an oil company, MGM, and Moderna. Uncle KC has stock investments. Uncle KC has been investing for decades. In 3 years, my investments give me a good return, but they're nowhere near generating $9 million over 3 years. So I wonder how Jazz is doing so well in the stock market. I wonder if she is potentially receiving inside information, or maybe she's receiving kickbacks. Earlier this week, Stephanie Miller, who I promise you is not married or probably even related to Stephen Miller. Stephanie Miller is a far-left radio host. She used to have a show on Sirius XM. I don't know if she does anymore. Honestly, I had forgotten Stephanie Miller even existed because I haven't heard her name in years. But earlier this week, she was hanging out with Jasmine Crockett. It appeared like they were having a girls' day. The besties were hanging out. Maybe they were getting their nails done. Perhaps they were refilling their Botox or trying on new eyelashes. I'm sure all the expenses were charged to Jasmine Crockett's expense account, where the bill was immediately paid by the voters in her district. A portion of this exciting girls' day was captured on video. As you're about to see, cameras captured Stephanie Miller worshiping her goddess while giving Jasmine Crockett a nice pedicure. Isn't that the one where they clean all the fungus off your feet? A pedicure? Manicure? Either way, Stephanie Miller was giving Jazz a nice foot massage, but she wasn't massaging her feet with her hands. Instead, Stephanie Miller was giving Jazz a nice pedicure with her mouth. Watch for yourself.
Can you confirm that I just kissed your sneakers? This is true.
Oh, Jazz! Your big toe is so dreamy! Let me tell you something right now. I don't give a damn who you are. Uncle KC ain't putting his mouth anywhere near your feet. And I don't want you anywhere near my feet. Not only because it's absolutely disgusting, I am not degrading myself to worship your big toe. And I'm damn sure not degrading myself to worship Jazz Crockett. Why in the hell would anyone worship Jazz? This woman is rapidly becoming the new face of huge embarrassing failure. Outside of being obsessed with Don Trump, what has Jazz accomplished in her 3 years in Congress? Name one thing Jasmine Crockett has done. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.